Broadcasting live from the Albay PIO News Center, providing you the most exclusive news update from all over the province. This is News at 12. In the local scene, residents of Western Albay are set to benefit from improved healthcare services with the upcoming opening of the PIO Duran Memorial District Hospital. The provincial government of Albay is completing regulatory and operational requirements to secure the hospital's license to operate. The new hospital is located in Barangay Karatagan and will serve patients from PIO Duran, nearby towns, and part of Masbate. The facility features a 50-bed capacity with emergency, delivery, operating, laboratory, dietary, and dialysis services. Officials said the hospital will help reduce congestion in other provincial hospitals and lower travel time and medical costs, especially during emergencies. In other story, nutrition assistance has been strengthened for families affected by Mayon volcano unrest in Tabaco City and Malilipot. The Disaster Risk Reduction and Management in Health Nutrition Cluster delivered essential nutrition supplies to local health offices. Support includes therapeutic food for undernourished children, supplements for pregnant and lactating women, vitamin and micronutrient assistance. Officials said distribution of therapeutic food to identified child beneficiaries is scheduled next week in coordination with UNICEF. Hot meals are also being provided to evacuees along with health information materials promoting proper nutrition during emergencies. In other news, the provincial government of Albay, through the Provincial Tourism, Culture and Arts Office, is celebrating National Arts Month 2026 under the theme, Ani ng Sining, Katotohanan at Giting. The month-long celebration underscores art as a harvest of truth, courage, and resilience, reflecting the enduring creative spirit of Albayanos. Activities are being conducted in schools, cultural centers, and public spaces across the province, featuring art exhibits, workshops, and performances involving students, local artists, and community members. The Provincial Tourism, Culture and Arts Office said National Arts Month serves as a platform to strengthen public appreciation of the arts through collaboration among schools, cultural groups, and local government units. The initiative also aims to promote safe and inclusive participation while positioning Albay as a dynamic hub of cultural expression. In the national scene, political dynasties may have contributed to the country's flood control problems by weakening accountability and checks and balances, according to a non-profit group that testified during a Senate inquiry on proposed anti-dynasty bills. The Anti-Dynasty Network said projects suffer when related officials control both the funding and implementation, creating conflicts of interest that make corruption and poor oversight more likely. Senator Riza Ontiveros, who chairs the committee, linked political dynasties to major issues such as flood control scams, worsening poverty, and election-related violence, saying they undermine democracy and the proper use of public funds. A study presented at the hearing showed that a large majority of lawmakers in Congress come from political families, which academics said limits competition and blocks qualified but less connected Filipinos from entering public office. Experts and election officials debated how to define and regulate political dynasties, with many supporting a ban on relatives up to the second degree of consanguinity or affinity as a practical and enforceable rule. Ontiveros said the Senate aims to pass an anti-political dynasty law before Congress adjourns in March, despite differing views on whether national positions should be covered. In other story, a proposal by the Department of Information and Communications Technology, DICT, to require all social media users in the Philippines to verify their accounts using their real legal identity is facing strong opposition from technology and science groups. In a joint statement, the Computer Professionals Union, CPU, and AGHAM said the plan threatens privacy, free speech, and access to the Internet, especially for journalists, activists, and marginalized communities who rely on anonymity to speak safely online. The groups argued that while stopping online scams, abuse, and other cybercrimes is important, forcing all users to link their accounts to SIM cards and real identities is too intrusive and unfairly places the burden of security on ordinary people instead of social media companies. They warned that the proposal could lead to surveillance, data breaches, self-censorship, and the misuse of law against government critics, pointing out the SIM-based verification has not proven effective in stopping crime. CPU and AGHAM also raised concerns that the policy could exclude people without proper identification, those who share phones, overseas workers, and minors who may have or who may not have supported guardians, widening the digital divides. While DICT officials said the proposal is still under consultation and open to changes, the groups called for it to be scrapped entirely and argued the government to focus instead on stronger platform accountability and better enforcement of existing laws. In other news, around 40% of adult Filipinos said they were satisfied with President Ferdinand Marcos Jr.'s performance at the end of 2025, while 43% were dissatisfied and 17% were undecided, according to a social weather station survey conducted from November 24 to 30. SWS said Marcos's net satisfaction rating stood at neutral -3, a slight improvement from -5 in September 2025, but a sharp drop from the moderate +10 rating recorded in June 2025. By region, Marcos posted his highest net satisfaction in Balanced Luzon at +13, followed by the Visayas at +2, while ratings were poor in Metro Manila at 17 or -17 and Mindanao at -29. Compared with September 2025, net satisfaction rose in the Visayas and Balanced Luzon but fell by 15 points in Metro Manila and remained largely unchanged in Mindanao. A separate numero poll released in December 2025 showed Marcos's satisfaction rating dropped to 21%, the lowest since he took office, amid controversy over alleged flood control corruption that the administration has denied. And in the news outside the country, South Korea confirmed its 6th case of African swine fever, ASF, this year after the virus was found at a pig farm in Buryong, about 138 kilometers south of Seoul, the Agriculture Ministry said Tuesday. The affected farm raises around 3,500 pigs, and authorities plan to cull the animals and enforce a temporary shutdown of all pig farms and related facilities in and around Buryong until Wednesday at 6 p.m. The latest case follows earlier outbreaks this month in Gangneung, Angseong, and Ponchon, marking a renewed spread after no cases were reported for about 2 months. ASF does not infect humans but is deadly to pigs, and Prime Minister Kim Min-syok has ordered the strict quarantine actions, including a detailed investigation to find how the virus spread, according to his office. In other story, the United States and Israel, while close allies, are pursuing different strategies in dealing with Iran, as Washington leans towards negotiations and Israel favors a tougher approach. President Trump, after threatening military action over Iran's crackdown on protests, is now seeking talks on Tehran's nuclear program, with meetings expected in Oman on Friday. Israel, led by Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, is pushing for a long-term weakening of Iran or even regime change, wanting it to respond forcefully to any Iranian attack. Experts say the differing goals reflect domestic politics, with Trump avoiding a prolonged war, while Netanyahu has built his career around confronting Iran's nuclear threat. Past conflicts, including missile attacks and targeted strikes, have left tensions high, and Israel's demands for any deal ending Iran's nuclear program and recognizing Israel are seen as unlikely to be met. And finally, in the news outside the country, with reference to the Philippines, a total of 190 Filipino victims of human trafficking arrived in the Philippines from Cambodia early Thursday morning, landing at the Terminal 1 aboard a Philippine Airlines flight, according to the Department of Migrant Workers, DMW. DMW Secretary Hans Leo Kakdak said the group was originally 191 overseas Filipino workers, but one woman was left behind in Phnom Penh for medical treatment after her condition worsened. The repatriates, made up of 95 men and 95 women, were rescued from several areas in Cambodia, including Phnom Penh, Pailin, Kong Kokung, Mondulkiri, Sway Ring, and Siem Reap. The DMW said the returnees will receive temporary shelter, medical care, psychosocial support, legal assistance, and financial aid, while the government also works to provide jobs and livelihood opportunities. Authorities said most victims were recruited online and forced to work in scam operations, prompting officials to warn Filipinos to be cautious of job offers on social media and to verify recruiters through the DMW. And that's the news at 12 o'clock, February 6, 2026. We'll be back next week for more news updates. And thanks to our news writer, LJ Lorejo and Naomi Ruth Hernandez. And on the technical side, Chad Bovis. And our Provincial Information Officer, OIC, Marty Gonzalez. And under the supervision of our Governor, Noel Irizal, I am Greg Hallare. Thank you for subscribing. Albay in my heart.